Strike Force 5 is the name of our podcast. Subscribe to it now.
Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts.
But Spotify, you
Watching it was so depressing, it put me in such a funk, I had to cheer myself up with the lovely Bones. So, apparently, there's a Hollywood writer's strike, and it's still going on. And the late night hosts have a real problem because they have other people who write almost all of their material.
Really?
Yes. Like 40 writers, depending on the place. There's, hundreds and hundreds of employees who simply actually create the content, and then they have to pre-tape it and then still whittle it down. Or if you're like Chelsea Handler, whittle it down even more and steal your guests' jokes before they go on air and have them submit it. It's true. I don't know if you guys know that it's funny.
Now, hold on. I've done that
Now,
joke.
that brings us... That's true, you did. It's not really a joke, more of a statement.
I never had that experience with her.
Yeah, I know.
Sticking up for her.
Good for you.
I like her.
Brings us to this week's Entertainment Minute. So the late night hosts, yes, I just said that phrase in the year 2023, dropped a trailer, I guess, for their new... And here's the thing. Remember when trailers used to be, in the 90s, you'd have like Fatal Attraction. There was always a cliffhanger, and it told you about the film. Then we went through the era of the Michael Bay trailers where it was just a bunch of Transformers effects, and then Transformers sound effects made it into trailers that had nothing to do with robots. You're like, what is this? This is the Hunger Games. Okay. Now trailers can just mean some aging old-timers in a webcam. So here is now the new podcast where they've formed the Megazord, I guess, of late night hosts. Strike Force 5, they're calling it, and I warn you.
Wow.
I mean, you have to watch it through your fingers.
Strike Force 5.
One more time, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon.
I'm Stephen Colbert.
That
I'm
is
Jimmy
me.
Kimmel. I thought when you said Jimmy, you meant me, Jimmy, but you meant Jimmy.
I always mean you.
But when you
I
say
always
Seth,
mean...
Seth Meyers, who do you mean?
I mean John Oliver.
That makes
It's the
sense.
five of us together for maybe an hour a day.
Strike Force 5 is the name of our podcast. Subscribe to it now.
Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts.
But Spotify, you
Watching it was so depressing, it put me in such a funk, I had to cheer myself up with the lovely Bones.
Be polite. You have to be polite. Be polite. That's another rule.
Well, now I'm more chipper.
There we go.
Was that the full stinger? Was that other podcast? Like
That's the full teaser.
That was what they put out to get people to watch?
What subjects do they touch on?
Well, the beauty is when you're that funny, when you're that talented, you can just talk about anything. We're gonna sit down and talk for
We're gonna riff on each other.
Maybe an hour. Maybe? Hey, you get a $20 million sale. Couldn't you do better than maybe?
Hey guys, we have two Jimmys. Let's do a joke where the wrong one responds.
Oh, no, I'm Jimmy. You said Jimmy. I'm Jimmy Fallon. He's Kimmel. No. He's Kimmel. I'm Fallon.
And then when John Oliver cuss at the end, it'll be great.
No. Looks like these guys are. I miss the ghost of Johnny Carson. These guys are really big putts.
Somebody needs.
So according to CBS News, I guess they're the central mainframe here. 5 of America's most famous late-night comedy hosts are banding together to create a podcast to discuss the ins and outs of the ongoing Hollywood strike.
Sounds fascinating.
I was going to say, even the topic... Even the top, this is how out of touch they are. By the way, Murderers Row is coming up. We weren't planning on plugging this again here. It's coming up a Monday on Labor Day because we don't pick your pocket every first Monday of September. But we're not going to be discussing the Hollywood strike.
Oh, God, I'd rather go through a car wash without my car.
Yes.
Yeah, God.
It's called a shower, Brian.
Tell
you might
me
want to
more.
try it.
And then, you'll never guess what happened after that. They stonewalled us.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Tune in tomorrow, though. We have more information.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing exclusively the Hollywood writers' strike because we think that strikes at the heart of what affects most Americans who don't watch our show.
For an hour a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the trailer, it was dropped on Jimmy Fallon's X page, because it's not Twitter anymore.
It's going to take a minute.
And remember they protested when Elon bought it? It was like, back in the day they used to say if so-and-so wins the election, they did it with George W. Bush, they said with Romney, they did it with Donald, I'll move to Canada, and they never did.
Oh, yeah.
They were, if this happens with Elon Musk, I'm leaving X. I notice you still have your verification badge.
Interesting. You like your view?
Yeah.
And your palm trees in California?
Yes.
Way to make a stand.
So the reactions are pretty much what you would expect. This is from some Twitter profiles. One guy wrote, guys, if we combine all our viewership, we'll get at least 15, maybe even 16 people to watch.
That's ambitious.
A funny one was someone said, oh, good, so I can ignore you all at once instead of individually.
Nice.
That's better, right?
Every now and then you want to hire. You're like, yeah, that guy, hey, I bet you he's not on strike. No, I can't. He's not union. Has to get scale. Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey, he's talking about his weight again.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just Brian Callen, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes. That's my name.
Yeah. Sometimes it's Coach.
I hate that we're talking about them.
So here's the thing. This is something you guys need to know. The 18 to 49 demo, the coveted demo, they do not tune in. They do not tune into late night programs anymore. The numbers are abysmal regardless of the writer's strike. And this is just, I don't know if this, I think this is the total average, not the demo average from March. You guys can correct me. Fallon is down to 1.4 million.
No, this is not the demo.
This is not the demo numbers. Yeah. Colbert is down to 1.4 million. Kimmel's down to 1.6.
Wow.
This is total. This is total. Oh, and they put in there. I'm not going to.
Oh, Crowder's.
You mean Crowder's almost 3 million?
I'm just going to say it.
I round up to 3 million.
Okay, I did not. This is
That's an
just so you know.
apples-to-apples
Someone added this
comparison.
without me knowing. It's not a prompter. It's just
listen.
someone. I don't get. But the demo numbers there are a couple 100,000. Just to be clear.
Wow.
No one aged 18 to 45. Some people do it ages 21 to 50 something. They're not tuning in to late night.
No.
And these people are desperate to claw it back. And this is the silver lining here. Remember, these people would influence elections a lot at one point in time. Take this from, and I get it, the industry has changed. Carson, right? You're talking about 30 million. These are now today's Super Bowl numbers. You'll never have that again. There were 3 networks, and once they went out, there was an Indian going beep. So I understand that we're not going back to that. But this has gotten significantly worse before the writer's strike, and so now they've teamed up. By the power of yours combined, I suck.
Yeah, what happens is, podcasts and shows like this have exposed Hollywood. Because what happens, if you look at Spotify, people like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and they had, Springsteen and Obama doing a podcast, nobody tuned in. And what happens is they went, oh, you guys aren't that interesting in long-form discussion. You're great in 5-minute clips.
We have a moratorium on even mentioning Bruce Springsteen in the studio. There are a few people I hate more than that mumbling sack of talentless shit.
Well, hold on now. I'm a bit of a Springsteen fan over here.
But you shouldn't be.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Leave
it's
now. And he faked. By the way, we used to. I don't know if we have this. One of the first shows I ever did on radio. Today we're going to be a little more relaxed. One of the first shows I ever did back on when it was on radio. It was syndicated. I don't know if you were on that show. First guests I think were Monica Crowley and Chael Sonnen. And Kayla Harrison, an Olympic medalist. I remember that show like it was yesterday, or maybe I'm blending. Maybe I don't remember it.
But the judo gal, yeah.
Early on. Back then, we pulled up an old clip of Bruce Springsteen. I hope y'all been good this year. Not too many. And back then, he was sitting there talking like this when we do rock and roll. Like a young Al Pacino. It's totally fake.
Yep.
And, figuratively, it would be nice if he got run over by a car.
Of all the people that trigger you, Bruce Springsteen is the one you go back
because I'm offended by mediocrity.
Brian, pull up the Santa Claus is Coming to Town performance by Bruce Springsteen.
I know it very well.
Referencing, it is horrifically bad.
You know what, guys? You can comment. I don't want to get into a whole Springsteen thing. We did this at Run Through. It's enough. Also, John Cougar Mellencamp. He can take a long walk off a short pier. And
Jack and Diane's a great song, guys. I don't care what you say.
Adding to Hollywood's idiocracy, we're living it in real time. Warner Brothers now announced, again, there's X. It's not Twitter. It's not HBO. It's Max. This should tell you how a lot of these companies, these entities aren't necessarily working. They cannot apply their classic cost structure to new media. And unfortunately, they have the burden of these unions who do serve some purpose. I actually agree with them on the AI issues because this is something that could put a lot of people out of work. These are skilled jobs. And but also your rights as a human being where someone can just mimic it with AI. Like, I understand that's not ill-founded, but that's not all they want. They always want more money, and the unions look out for their unions. I mean, I was in the actors union because I had to be. I had to pay $2,500 before ever showing up on set in the first role I got in the United States, even though I was already technically a member because I was a member in Canada. They said, yeah, it is, but you have to pay this fee. I said, well, just take it out of the first couple of episodes. They said, no, you have to pay it up front. And actually, true story, my brother, who was one of the first YouTube partners in 2006, lent me the money. So that I could fulfill a role that I had already received. Anyways, I'm going off.
I think a lot of it also comes down to the fact that you, as a writer or an actor, you got to be very careful about how much you think you're actually worth. One thing as an actor in Hollywood, I always knew, whether it was writing or acting, is I was always eminently replaceable.
Yes.
It's just the way it is, man. I mean, it's just too easy to be like, next.
Yeah, and plus it's a cottage industry, Brian Callen lookalikes. There's one guy's a dead ringer. That's a dead ringer.
Yes, my nose keeps
he also
growing
does
as I get older.
Springsteen.
God, I do a little.
So CNN live alerts. They think this is going to help them. HBO became Max, right? Buying Discovery and History. I particularly love their historical accuracy on the Mermaid.
Yes.
So it's now Max, and now they decided, this isn't working. Let's add CNN live alert pop-ups. That means during other shows or films that you are watching on Max, you may get a CNN pop-up. And by the way, I'm part of the beta testing and saw one of these last night, again, while cheering myself up watching The Lovely Bones.
I'm not gonna hurt you, Susie.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Don't even try watching Schindler's List. It's very difficult.
Don't you always wonder what, like, in the meeting, in the idea room, in the war room, where they go, what do you guys, our ratings are, and then somebody went, how about pop-ups? Genius! Yes!
You mean in movies that people pay for to not have commercials?
Moses!
Throw in like a commercial?
Right. Lead us out of the promised land with pop-ups. This is going to save our network.
Yeah. I'll tell you, one time I was at Fox News and they were looking at doing this new show and it was an ensemble and it wasn't working. And one of the people there who was ancient, who had worked on like the Steve Allen show, he suggested a monkey.
No.
Oh, boy.
He goes, just have a monkey there. And he was like, he'd be there like the whole time. Like on a perch. I'm like, I don't know if monkeys use perches. I don't know, but I don't think that's how it works. I swear to you.
Wait, he wanted a monkey for what? Just
to be there. He's like, oh, yeah, because people love monkeys.
Just a monkey, Brian.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of genius. And by the way, monkeys are always funny. There was a knockdown, drag-out fight, Mad TV, my first year. We were in the writer's room. It was I've never seen anything like it. It was an absolute brawl over what word was funnier in the sketch, monkey or midget. And I was like, boy.
Midget.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah,
but we're all canceled. We're all canceled.
No, come on.
It's a real word.
No, that's right. We should call them dwarves because that's less offensive.
Why did they decide midget was offensive?
I don't know. I just go with Willow. And by the way, CNN Plus was a $100 million venture. Shut down after a month. Yeah, $100 million couldn't make it work. But hey, the failed $100 million venture, let's put their pop-ups into Max. You comment if you think Hollywood's ever going to get it right. Of course, I can guess. That's been this week's Entertainment Minute.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.